Did you think it was another clickbait video? Unfortunately, it's not. Your pliers can indeed be dangerous to your health. Let me explain why. Hi, I'm Shanda from Akonitune. I love tools, and last week I wanted to stock up my plier collection. So I bought several new pliers, and while unpacking them, I read this on the package. This product can expose you to diethylhexylphthalate, DEHP, which is known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. For more information, go to blah blah blah. So diethylhexylphthalate and phthalate immediately rang a bell in my mind, because I'm also a biologist. I spent nearly 13 years in biochemical and biophysical labs before I finished my PhD in biology, and I'm not saying this to brag around. I'm saying this because I'm aware of the risks that phthalates have. And this is especially not something that you want to have in things that you continuously have in your hands. But what is this DEHP? DEHP is a softener that is used in plastic to make it more soft and more flexible. Mostly it is used in PVC. It's used everywhere where PVC is used. For example, in cable isolations, tapestry floorings, car parts, food packaging, clothes, toys, medicinal products such as blood bags, catheters, gloves, and so on. And soft PVC can have an amount of 20 to 80% of DEHP in it. Okay, but what's the real problem with this substance? DEHP, as well as other phthalates and bisphenols, mostly the whole group of softeners, are known to be endocrine disruptors. What is an endocrine disruptor? Endocrine disruptors are substances that interfere with hormonal signaling by mimicking natural hormones and binding or even blocking to their relevant receptors. DEHP is also classified as a CMR substance. CMR stands for cancerogen, mutagenic, and reproduction toxic. These substances are extremely harmful and I would avoid them at all costs. The problem when this is used in PVC is that it's not permanently bound. It can gas out, so it can bind to particles like dust, and with the dust it can travel for long distances or even accumulate on your floor. DEHP can also be liberated from the material through interaction with lipophilic substances as solvents, for example, but also through lipids or sweat or low pH. And this is what we constantly have on our hands. We're sweating, we have a general lipid film on our hands, our membranes have a lipid bilayer, and then if you're working with pliers that have DEHP in their handle coating, you will definitely get exposed. And that leads to dermal absorption, and that all ends in your blood. Additionally, DEHP has also a high potential of bioaccumulation, which means that it accumulates in soil and in water, which is harmful for the animals living there, and also if you eat from the soil, you can imagine. So some of you might say, it's just a little bit, I'm not using the pliers very often. For me, it's not just a little bit, because it's a little bit here, it's a little bit there. Silicones also accumulate, and these can also not be filtered out by wastewater treatments. So everything accumulates in our water and soil. Just a little bit poison here, from food, from clothes, here and there. And at the end, everything piles up, and then it's not just a little bit anymore. Additionally, it's very difficult to investigate the long-term effects and also the effects of interactions. Substances may work synergistically, and nobody can investigate the effects when things have already piled up in your body. This is definitely not what we want. Unfortunately, we cannot avoid all the toxins that we are exposed to nowadays, but avoiding the ones we can will definitely reduce the load. But how can we solve that for the pliers right now? Because I don't want to discard them either, another metal waste. And actually I like the pliers because they work well. I just don't want these scrappy handles. So maybe cover it with shielding tape, but this will not prevent the whole thing from gassing out, so nope. Maybe covering the handles with epoxy could help, but that would only replace one bad thing with another, because depending on the network in the epoxy, that might release BPA, and then we have BPA plus DEHP, and this is definitely not what we want. So, nope. How about covering the handles with heat shrinking tubing? Not bad, but it will still gas out, and another thing will occur, which is the migration of DEHP in other plastics. So over time, you will have the same result as before. So the only proper solution at the end is to cut these coatings away. We will cut this away and then replace it with another tubing. Let's do that. This feels like a slimy mushroom. I've also done that for the other pliers. And what will we do with that now? Discard this. We will clean the handles of this and then mantle them with some new tubing. So how to clean this? You can use alcohol as ethanol or isopropanol for that. Or if you don't have that, you can also use brake cleaner. Maybe your man has that at home. So I've got some isopropanol here. I will also open the window for the solvent party. So now the pliers are clean. Well, we could also use them like this, but it doesn't feel nice to the hands. So we're going to apply a new tubing to these. How do we do that? We do it with heat shrinking tubing made from polyolefin. Polyolefin is not harmful, and you can buy a set of tubing which doesn't cost much. I also use them for electronics, so it's a good investment anyways, and they have tubing that comes with different sizes. This shrinks to half of the size of the tubing. You can also buy heat shrinking tubing directly in the right size. They come in rolls, and you can also buy a full roll and then just use that. We also want to cover the end, and what I would suggest is take one piece here. Then we apply this to the end, that half of this is still free here, and then we're just going to heat this up. And for the ends, you can just fold the ends into that. Place another tubing on top of this to mantle everything. Other side. Dog hair, yay. That's good. First handle done. And make sure you have an open window when you do that, because it's a little bit stinky as well. That should be fine. Okay, and this is the final result then. We can use it, it has a soft grip, and now we're doing this for the other ones as well. If you also have pliers where these feathers come off, then you can do it like this. Put this knob into this rabbet, fix it with your thumb where you want to have it. Then we take a little piece of shrinking tube. Now it holds in place. Same for the other side. So I also click them into each other to make sure the mechanism is working. It's working fine like that. Yeah, now it's fixed again. Mechanism is working, and we can proceed to mantle the whole thing. I'm very happy that I didn't buy pliers with any fancy colored handles, because I was very tempted by that. But now I would have had to remove the fancy coloring. That would have been sad. That works fine again. The grip feels good. Now the pliers are usable again. That's awesome. So what's the conclusion now? For the future, I would only buy pliers that have a hard plastic handle on it. If it's not available with a hard plastic handle, then yes, I would also buy it again, but then immediately replace the handle of the plier. In my opinion, it's extremely annoying that the companies producing these pliers are still using DEHP and not using hard plastic, which is much safer. I guess it's cheaper to use the DEHP, but I also guess for health and environment's sake, everyone would be willing to pay a little bit more. So why not doing it? Please, companies, do that. Additionally, I have linked some of the resources I used below. If you want to dig deeper into the matter and do your own research, feel free to do it and decide for your own. That's it actually from my side. I'm happy that I can work safely now with my pliers. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please also let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Happy to see you in the next video. Bye.